Good morning everybody. Guess where we are today? We're actually on the M4 motorway. We've just come back from doing a private hire job for the 2025 Henley Regatta, and we're heading back on the M4 motorway, heading back towards London, and it's fine on the 1st of July 2025. So this is the M4 motorway heading east towards the direction of London. And everyone's all had a good time today, which is the main thing. We dropped them off, picked them up safely, dropped them off safely at the Henley Regatta. Beautiful historic town of Henley over in Oxfordshire. So yeah, we're heading back to Wandsworth Bus Garage now via the M4 and West London. So we're now heading on the M4, and very soon we'll hopefully get to have a view of Windsor Castle. I'll show that to you in a little while as we head east towards London anyway. Hope everyone's keeping well, hope everyone's keeping out of trouble and mischief. I am, apparently, but you know me, old habits die hard. So yeah, this is the 1st of July. Where's this year gone, eh? Hopefully you all enjoyed my previous vlog, that vlog I did travelling from King's Cross back to Wandsworth Garage a few evenings ago. That was a good job. That was on RM371. Today's bus I'm travelling on is RML 2480, former First London RML, and my driver today is the one and only Mr. Wayne Wheatley. So in the next few minutes we'll see Windsor Castle over in the far distance, which I'll hopefully try and zoom in on. What I'll actually do is I'll actually cross over to the other side of the bus, that way you can see Windsor Castle in more detail as and when we pass it by. Yeah, so all's good. So we're passing on the M4 between Windsor on the right hand side and Slough on the left hand side, or as I refer to it as Slough. I don't call it Slough, I call it Slough. Slough, of course, being famous for that TV comedy series The Office, starring Ricky Gervais. And we've got this nice steady cruise on board RML 2480 heading back into the multicultural madhouse that is London town. Fine day, fine summer's day. So there's the M4 direction sign, so as you can see we're heading towards London on the M4 motorway. The M4 being the second motorway to be built back in 1959, 1960. First motorway to be built was the M1 back in 1958, and the M4 was actually built in 1959, which of course links London with Bristol and South Wales. Ah, there we are, there's Windsor Castle over in the far distance. I'll just try and zoom in a bit when we get the chance, but over in the far distance on that side we'll get to see Windsor Castle in the far distance, standing on the top of the hill. So very shortly we're about to cross over the railway line that connects Slough with Windsor and Eton River Central Station. Windsor's actually got two stations. You've got Windsor and Eton Central, which is served on this GWR branch line from Slough, and it's also got Windsor and Eton Riverside Station, which is served on the South Western Railway service from Waterloo. So over there in the distance there, that is Slough. That's the town of Slough in all its hypnotic splendour over there. And there's Windsor Castle just on the top of that hill, just in the middle of the video, behind those trees. That is actually Windsor Castle, along with St George's Chapel. So that's Windsor Castle. You can just about see it there. You can see it a bit more once these trees head down. Just focus back out again. Focus back out on the motorway. panoramic view there of Slough. And there's the railway line down there. That's the railway line that takes you down to Windsor. So yeah, that's Windsor Castle behind those trees. Hopefully we can see it a bit more. Yep, there it is, right in the middle of your screen there. That's Windsor Castle. Just there. Standing proudly on top of the hill, Windsor Castle. The oldest inhabited castle in the whole world. Previously resided by the late Queen Elizabeth II, up until her death in 2022. So we're in the Royal County of Berkshire at the moment, or the Americans call it Berkshire. It's spelt Berkshire, but it's pronounced Berkshire, because us Brits were crazy a lot, as you well know. We say one thing but pronounce it a different way. And then very shortly we shall be going into the environs of Greater London, or what was Middlesex until 1965, then it became what is now Greater London. As you can see, the sky is absolutely gorgeous on this summer's day. Nice blue sky, nice wispy clouds, and all's good with the world. Traffic's moving nicely as well. Oh, there's Windsor Castle as well. I've got a better view of it. Look at that, there it is. Oh, much better view there. There it is, right in the middle of your video screen. As you can see, oh, we've got a lorry in the way. There we are, there's the castle. Oh, it's gone now because all the other buildings and trees have got in the way. But you get the idea of that. That's Windsor down there, home of the castle, as well as Windsor being a lovely riverside town with its bars and restaurants and other touristy hotspots like Windsor Great Park and Windsor Home Park, and of course the historic town centre, along with Windsor Barracks, home of the British military. It's a town with a lot of history, mostly to do with royalty and the military. And it's a good town to go to if you're in London and you want to get out of London for a day. Windsor's a lovely place to visit, especially at this time of the year when all the tourists are all gathering there for their photographs and stuff. Windsor Castle is actually protected by the Metropolitan Police. And as we all know, the Metropolitan Police, that's the police force that looks after London. But the police force that patrols in Windsor is actually the Thames Valley Police. But Windsor Castle is not patrolled by the Thames Valley Police, it's protected by the Metropolitan Police. Thames Valley Police patrol the Windsor area and Slough and Reading and other places in the Berkshire and Buckinghamshire areas. Very shortly we'll be passing the flyover with Langley and Slough. Langley being towards the western part of West London. Town of Langley being served by the Route 81 bus service, number 81, that goes from Slough to Hounslow. And also not all that far from Heathrow Airport as well. So if you keep your eyes open further along, you'll see some aeroplanes taking off or landing at Heathrow Airport. So this flyover that we're coming up to now, this is the Langley turn-off for the M4, where you come off towards Langley or to the eastern parts of Slough, or Slough. There we are, there's the direction sign there. Here in the UK we have what's called motorways. In the USA it's freeways. So in America you say freeways, and here in the UK we say motorways. It's the same thing, but it's just spelt and done differently. That and the fact that we drive on the other side of the road as well. So over on that side over there, that's the town of Langley. So that's Langley over there on the left hand side. We stay on the M4. is mainly a commuter town, and a lot of people who work at Heathrow Airport, they live here as well. So very shortly we'll be coming to the junction with the M25 motorway as well. M25 being the London orbital motorway that goes in a circle around London, or as we call it, Great Britain's biggest car park, because it's always busy with traffic and it never moves. But I digress. There's one of the Reading buses, London line buses there on the other side. On its way to Legoland and Windsor on Route 703 from Victoria. That's a nice little route, that, from Victoria out to Hammersmith and then out to Legoland, Windsor and Windsor itself. So very shortly we're coming up to the junction of the M25, but we stay heading east on the M4. So yeah, the M4 being Britain's second motorway, which was built in 1959. And it links London with the west, places like Bristol, Cardiff, Swansea, my parts of Britain, dear old Bristol. That turn off on the left hand side there, that's the turn off for the M25. But we continue on the M4 as we head towards the outer edges of West London. As you can see, there's traffic everywhere. Up, down, flying around. There's the M25 down here somewhere. It's like Spaghetti Junction, this area. So that's the turn off for the M25, which takes about 4 hours to go all the way around. If you're travelling around on the M25, it takes 4 hours, 4.5 hours just to do a complete circuit of the M25. So yeah, I'm travelling on board RML 2480. RML 2480 originally being one of the Routemasters that ran in service with First London. I'll just show you the interior of the bus. There it is. That's a view looking towards the rear of the bus. As you can see, I've got the top deck of the bus, well, the whole bus all to myself. And it's got the refurbished interior of the modern seating moquette, which was put in back in the early 1990s, along with the fluorescent lighting and what have you. So this is RML 2480, along with its hopper window vents and fluorescent lighting and 1990s seat patterns. So the traffic's going along nicely on the M4 today. There's no accidents or tailbacks, so we should be alright. So we should be back at Wandsworth bus garage in plenty of good time. We actually left this morning during the school run, so it was quite hectic in the Wandsworth area, as you probably can tell. As you can see, there's the direction sign where it says Central London and Hounslow, M4. Very shortly we'll be passing the turn off for the M4 spur to Heathrow Airport. So the building over on the right hand side, that's the Heathrow Airport Premier Holiday Inn. And on the left, coming up after the flyover, you've got the Heathrow Airport North Premier Inn, which is where I've actually stayed a couple of occasions when I've been doing private hire work. So this Premier Inn just here on the left hand side, this Premier Inn here, I've actually stayed at that Premier Inn when I've done some private hire work a few years ago. Good times, good times. So yeah, we're actually literally within spitting distance of Heathrow Airport, because over in that direction we're looking south here. That's actually the general direction of Heathrow Airport, just behind that hill. And interesting, there's no aircraft flying around today. Hopefully there will be, but that view there, that's looking south, because we're looking south towards Heathrow Airport, and this view is looking east towards West London. We're looking east towards Harlington and Southall. So very shortly we're about to pass under Harlington Bridge. So now we're in Greater London. Now we're in the London Borough of Hillingdon. There's one of the Superloop buses. So this is Harlington Bridge. This road bridge here, this is Harlington Bridge. And then the next flyover takes us over what's called the Parkway, where if you travel north from here, that takes you towards Hayes as well as Southall. So this is the turn off for the eastern end of Heathrow Airport, as you can see on the direction sign there. So if you do a left here, that takes you towards Heathrow Airport. If you go right, and if you go left, that takes you towards Southall and Hayes. Funnily enough, there's actually two Hayes in London, in the Greater London area. You've got the Hayes which is here, which is the one that used to be in Middlesex, and you've got the other Hayes on the diagonal opposite side of London, near Bromley, which used to be in Kent. There's two Ashfords, one in Surrey, one in Kent. There's two Hayes, one here in Middlesex, the other one in Kent. There's two towns which have the same name, which is quite weird. Oh, there's an aircraft. I'll just try and zoom in on the aircraft as it prepares to land at Heathrow Airport. There we are, we've got a low flying aircraft over there, look. Just behind those trees, there it is. That's getting ready to land on its final approach into Heathrow Airport. Heathrow being the world's busiest international airport, with its 5 terminals. There probably will be a 6th terminal being built in the next few years to cope with demand. Now this junction here, this is the turn off for Heston services. Heston services, which was actually built on the former Heston Aerodrome, which was a small aerodrome which was built back in the 1930s, but all that got cleared away in the 1960s, and now you've got the site of the former Heston Aerodrome, which is now Heston Services. It's actually 31 degrees today, so it's quite warm. It's lovely and warm, which is just how I like my June. And also today is actually the first day of the 2025 tournament at Wimbledon, the tennis tournament at Wimbledon. So Wimbledon's going to be on for the next 2 weeks, next fortnight, as is always the case. Strawberries and cream, and of course the tennis championships themselves. remember the days of Wimbledon when you had people like Bjorn Borg and Virginia Wade, Bjorn Borg, John McEnroe, Ili Nastasi. Yeah, back in the late 70s, early 80s, John McEnroe, he actually made Wimbledon come alive. I never was a big fan of tennis, and technically I'm still not really a big fan of tennis, but when you had players like John McEnroe, they certainly spiced up the game. Good old John McEnroe and his temper tantrums, what did they used to call him? Super brat. You cannot be serious! You are the pits of the world! Yeah, John McEnroe and his headband. Yeah, everyone remembers John McEnroe and his headband, along with Bjorn Borg and his long blonde hair and his headband. You see, they were the real characters of Wimbledon. Nowadays it's gone a bit too formal, I think. With Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe and Ili Nastasi, they broke the rules with tennis. So very shortly we'll be coming towards Brentford in West London. We'll also be passing underneath the London Underground's Piccadilly line branch that goes to Heathrow Airport. More of that in the next few minutes or so. Lots of lovely green trees and fields and golf courses just before the concrete and glass starts to build up. Talking of building up, we've got some traffic queuing up along here, so something's happened which has made the traffic slow down and stop. And we're stuck in a traffic tailback. So I don't know what's causing this traffic tailback, because normally the M4 it speeds nicely along this stretch of the motorway. Also got a couple of London black taxis in front of us, as you can see. Two standard London black taxis, both of them electric. Both of them being the LEVC electric taxis. At least we're moving a little bit, so it's not too bad. But I don't know what's causing this accident. I can hear a siren, so it could be the police, it could be an ambulance. I can hear a siren, so something's happening. It's a police vehicle, it's an undercover police car, that silver car that's just come in on the right. So I'm guessing it's a road accident somewhere. It's a plainclothes police car if such a thing exists. So with all the slow moving traffic, there's something clogging up the eastbound section of the M4 anyway, so the main thing is we're moving along slowly. As the saying goes, slowly, slowly, catchy monkey. It'll give us time to appreciate the M4 in this part of outer West London in more detail. So the traffic is moving an inch at a time, so that's not too bad. Cars, cars, cars. The motorway that never sleeps, this motorway, the M4. Everyone going into London, everyone going towards South Wales or Bristol. The traffic never stops. So whilst we're stuck in the traffic, I thought I'd give you a bit more background details on RML 2480. So this is the upper saloon of the vehicle, obviously, so we're looking towards the rear of the bus. There's the rear emergency exit there. So that's us looking towards the upper saloon of the bus. And of course we've got the staircase going down. The lower saloon of the bus there, looking towards the driver's cab there, with Wayne sat in the hot seat. Some of the rubbish from our private hire trip. So this is the lower saloon of RML 2480. There's a conductor's locker, there's my reflection. That's a view looking towards west along the M4. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back up again onto the top deck of RML 2480. This time we're going to sit on the off side of the bus because it's nice and cool. There's my cap, there's Debbie Gibson. There's Debbie Gibson, my ticket machine, there she is, enjoying a bit of sunshine. And this is Andy Cap, which is the cap I always wear on various hires. So this is Andy Cap, and there's Debbie Gibson, there they are side by side. Debbie Gibson and Andy Cap. So yeah, this view is looking towards the rear of the bus. As you can see, the refurbished eyes down seat moquette. Squash strawberries or eyes down, that's what they used to call this seat moquette back in the day. Now RML 2480 was one of the fleet of Routemasters which operated in service with First London on routes 7 and 23 out of Westbourne Park Bus Garage in Notting Hill. And route 23 was converted to one-person buses in November 2003, and route 7 was converted to one-person buses in July 2004. I should know because I was there on both days, taking pictures with my film camera and having a few farewell rides and all that sort of stuff. Because it had to be done, obviously. Always good to pay my respects to these old girls. Where would London be without the Routemaster bus? Not in a good place, I don't think. But anyway, we're slowly getting through this traffic. I'm not fussed anyway, because the longer we stay in the traffic, the longer I get paid, so I'm not bothered either way. As you can see in the far distance, you can see the office developments and office blocks of Brentford. They have all the famous UK headquarters of things like Gillette and other well-known brands of household goods and all that sort of stuff. Very shortly we'll also be passing over the single track that runs from Southall down to Brentford Dock. And that used to be the old Brentford Dock branch, which used to be served by passenger trains up until the 1930s. And it's still in use today, but it's normally used by freight trains. It's normally used by aggregates trains or refuse trains from the terminal at Brentford Dock, where it connects up with the Great Western Main Line just east of Southall Station. It's only a single track line, but it's used every day by various freight trains. So it's quite an important freight line that goes to Brentford Dock, which is a major freight and waste hub in this part of West London. So we're edging closer towards London, even if we are going at a sort of snail's pace, but we will be getting there. So this on the left is the line that goes from Brentford Dock There it is, there's a railway line down there somewhere, underneath those trees. That's a former Brentford dock branch line, which is still in use today, which links Brentford dock with Southall, and then we come to another overbridge just a bit further down, and that overbridge carries the London Underground Piccadilly line from Acton Town all the way out to Hounslow West and Heathrow Airport. And hopefully, if we're lucky, we might even see a couple of trains of Piccadilly line 1973 stock running across the road on their way from Heathrow Airport to the likes of Cockfosters and Central London and other interesting places such as Bounds Green and Wood Green, etc. There we are. So just had to reset there. So we're slowly moving along, as you can see. But obviously some things happen further along. Traffic heading away from London is fine, it's just the traffic going towards London, there's something that's clogging things up. Also, this bridge that's just coming up here, this carries the M4 motorway over the River Brent. You can just see in the distance there's a train of 1973 stock crossing over the bridge on the Piccadilly line on its way to Heathrow Airport from central London. That's the River Brent down there. That's where the town of Brentford has got its name, from the River Brent, which goes from Cricklewood all the way into the River Thames at Brentford, just down the road from here. Also later this year and next year, the Piccadilly line is having its trains of 1973 stock replaced by the 2024 stock, which is being built in Germany. So for those of you who are interested in the London Underground, get your rides on the 1973 stock on the Piccadilly line now, while you still get the chance to, before they start to be withdrawn and replaced by the brand new 2024 stock, which is currently on test at the moment. I believe only one train of 2024 stock is on test on the Piccadilly line at the moment. But the 1973 stock, that's still going to be with us for a little while yet, until all the trains of 2024 stock are in service on the Piccadilly line, once they've ironed out all their faults and glitches and what have you. That new train seems to suffer from every now and again. Oh, knocked it down again.